It's a perfect afternoon, perfect day for an event like this. It rained all night here, and now it's starting to, like, the sprinkles are going away, which is good. So I'm Tammy White, and I'm at Wing and a Prayer Farm. And I don't know if you guys have joined me before or not. Hi, Nicole. We see you. If you've been to my farm in person, or if you've been to it virtually, or if you followed me online at all, then you probably know a little bit about me. But in case you don't, I'm going to give you just a little introduction, brief, because we only have a half an hour together. Hi, Ronnie. Thanks for joining us. We need to can see this. Thank you for enabling the closed caption. I forgot to do that. Okay, I think it's all set now. Hi, Martha. So, anyway, I have it so that we have a view of me, and then I have a small camera set up from my phone out back. You can see that Wing and a Prayer Farm video or picture is in the backyard where we're going to go out and do a quick little indigo. I thought it'd be fun to turn some gold into green because it's March and it's St. Patrick's weekend, this coming weekend, and green is my favorite color. But getting green with natural dyes is just not that simple. It's more complicated. And so it's really fun and beautiful. Hi, Diane. I'm going to go ahead and share with you a little slideshow that I have so that we can get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way. This is our coupon code for now through March 24th. So that's 8 days. VK Live will give you 10% off your order of $125 or more. And that's the logo of our farm that my middle child created, SJ. SJ is an artist, but lives like a couple of hours north of me with her wife in a little town in Vermont where they are an administrative assistant. But a long time ago, they used to do a lot more art, worked for Mary Engelbright for a spell and did lots of art with her. And then always did my logos. And they made me this for Mother's Day quite a few years ago. And I just fell in love with it because it perfectly embodied the farm, which is the animals, the barn, the flower gardens, and all of that. So it's not a printer's dream. In fact, it's a printer's nightmare. But I don't mind because it's authentic to what we are. So we go ahead and have that embellished on as much as we can because it's just so festive and spot on. I naturally dye everything. So all of the farm yarns, which we make on our farm, are, if they're not in the natural colors, like this sweater here, that is just the natural alpaca and merino brown, but it has a little bit of contrast that's dyed with some indigo. If it's not natural colored, then any of the dyes are from my garden, or sometimes I'll order, like if I want a purple, like in this beautiful shawl here, it comes from logwood bark, and logwood bark is the logwood bark that I use is from a sustainable source in South America. And the logwood trees, like it's like a byproduct of the logging industry. So they use sawdust to make this beautiful purple. And an Osage orange tree, the sawdust from that makes a gorgeous orange color, orange gold color. And marigolds make beautiful yellows. And we're going to go out back in a few minutes and I'm going to show you some marigold dyed yarn as well as some marigold dyed shawls that were then, and this was dyed with marigolds, that we're then going to turn into green. But I dye from the garden. I have a big garden in the back and I have 20 acres here in Vermont, which I raise, well, I counted this morning. I have 75 sheep currently. 13 of them are bred to have more lambs in May, so that will be fun. So then the count will go up. But I also have alpacas and I have one cashmere goat left, Christopher Robin. So we just had lambs this week, and these are two of the 5 ewe lambs that were born. 5 little girls, made me so happy. One mama had twins and the other had triplets. And that's them yesterday having a snooze in the sunshine in the barn. Oh, they were tired out because yesterday was a sunny day here in Vermont. And I let them all out to like kind of romp around in the front of the barn. They're not quite integrated with the big sheep yet. The mamas are too fussy about them. They worry, oh dear, where's my baby? Where's my baby? So I don't really want the moms to stress out so much. The babies don't stress out at all. But at the end of the day, yesterday afternoon, they were just crashed. They were all so sleepy. And so I took that picture of 2 of them. And you can imagine, I just want to spend all my time with the lambs and the sheep. So I've been farming since 2001. That's when we got our first sheep. So it's a long time now. And having lambs for that many years, and I really can't believe it's been that long. And when my 3 children were younger, they helped me, and so we started it as sort of a hobby. And now they're considerably older, and my eldest lives with me. Again, he moved back home after the pandemic, which is nice because I have someone to help share a little bit of the work around here, especially mechanical things, because that's not my strength. And my other 2 are, living away from the farm. One of them helps me more or less. So I have some teenagers that come by sometimes when they can after school, or a couple college kids that I've had good helpers with off and on through the years. Mostly it's me every day. And I'm not happier than when I'm out there with the animals or out there in the garden. But I turned my living room into a yarn shop this past year, which has been the most wonderful thing. So I'll give you a quick little tour and then I'll show you, well, let's get off that so that you can see around the room in here. Okay. I'm going to just paste some links in before I get too far away so that if you guys have a chance and want to later on, you can click on them. They might help you. They'll highlight some of the things that I'm going to show you. So let me go in order of these links. So not only do I have this yarn that is all around in my living room, but I have a big apothecary shelf because I make a lot of homemade soaps and lotions and things like that. And so I sell them in my little apothecary. So if you ever come to Vermont, I have an Airbnb also at Wing and a Prayer Farm, and you can click on our webpage and it'll take you to where there's an Airbnb link. And so then all this yarn that you see is the farm's yarns from the farm's flocks. Those are all the warm tones and the natural colors on that wall. And then I have sort of the cooler colors over on this wall. And so you can't see them up close so well the way I'm panning it, because I thought it would be difficult in a half-hour time to show you all of the things. But I thought I'd bring a few things to the screen here to show you. Let's see, for starters, I have a link, because not only do I sell like yarn and wool batting and wool roving, but I have like things like these Friend Sheep dryer balls. So they're in our shop too. So sometimes I make my own dryer balls and sometimes I sell them from Friend Sheep, and they're very cute. So I thought I would show you those because they go right in the dryer, and because they're so brightly colored, I think they're easier to not lose because I often lose my dryer balls, but makes a big difference if I'm using the dryer to use the dryer balls to cut down on lint and static and such, and they're made of wool. And then the next link down that I highlighted is the yarn that is in this sweater. So this is designed by Mary Jane Mucklestone, and the pattern is in her book, and her book is in our shop too. She and Gudrun Johnston wrote this Grand Shetland Adventure Knits, and they take you on a tour around the Shetland Isles. And then there's the pattern and beautiful little essays about the island. So I'm very excited. Um, and so I have um, four items out of it that I can show you. So the Peary Shop Cardi that I'm wearing, which is knit up in my DK, called Thalia and Lupin. So Thalia and Lupin were two of my many Angora goats. And so there's mohair in Thalia and Lupin. So here's the Peary Shop Cardi page. And the yarn is such a nice, I have like many colors, the nice soft halo-y yarn. These were dyed with cochineal. Because of the mohair, you can kind of see the halo right there in the pictures. And I've dyed them all naturally. I love the way that the marigold came out. I originally thought I'd have my whole sweater in marigold. And then um I changed it to this color, which is uses madder roots. So in my listing, one moment, let's see, I call it madder red. And you can see it's because the roots of the madder plant make reds or shades of reds, like this kind of coral. Oh, Arita's showing us hers. Oh, that's really great. You've got the colors. Oh, that's really fun. We're twinning, sort of. So this is what it's like, and it's just wears so to you too. It wears so lovely and soft, and so I know I'm going to wear this actually all summer too because it's not too heavy of a layer. Also, I'm always cold, so most of my knits I'm going to wear year round except some and like this sport weight in our is Spice Girls. I will wear this year round too. In our Shetland wool, which I don't have a listing for, but if you go to the website, I can show you after. This is the Floors cardigan, and this is using our Shetland single. So when we first started farming, we always had Shetlands. So I'm gonna just pull up my website so you can see it. Um, and the Shetlands are little and they only grow like 2 or 3 pounds of fleece per sheep, but they were a great sheep for us to start with. So I'm pretty devoted to Shetlands and Shetland wool. And every year when we harvest the Shetland wool, which we like tomorrow's shearing day, so we'll shear all the Shetlands. I specifically keep their wool separate and bring that to Green Mountain Spinnery where they spin it into either a worsted weight or a single ply yarn. So on our website, you will see that, we have a worsted weight or a single of the Shetland yarn. So I'm going to bring us over to my website. I'm going to put a link to the website here. And in another couple of minutes, we're going to go outside and do a dyeing adventure, okay? So there's my website. If you get to that, if you click on that link, you can kind of scroll through it. I'll show you a kind of what it's like on my website. We'll go over there for a quick minute and I can walk you through it. So let's see, let's move down. I don't know why it's not quite refreshed, but so some of these images are not available. I don't know why it doesn't refresh, but let's see. for example, like the thalia and lupin that I showed you, the DK in the sweater I'm wearing, here's this really beautiful deep, it's like a magenta color here. And it's next to sort of a different, some different colored cormo yarn. And our cormo yarn is kind of our softest yarn. If you're a person that has sensitivity to wool or anything, the cormo yarn is the softest. It wears differently. It doesn't have like that halo that thalia and lupin has because there's not that mohair in it, but it's a nice round yarn and it wears sort of like a sweatshirt soft. It's not as sturdy as like if we go over here, this yarn, the caramelized rose clun forest and alpaca, anything that has clun forest in it, which is a type of sheep, is a sturdier yarn. Not to say that it's any more toothy. It's just that it holds up better. Like anything that has clun forest in it, you can wear and it wears like iron. It just, it's incredibly strong and soft and round and warm and light. It's a wonder fiber. I wish more people knew about clun forest. So sometime you might want to try it if you haven't. There's that pink and thalia and lupin. Here's that pretty light madder root that is in my sweater in the thalia and lupin. And so that's how it goes. And there's this beautiful coreopsis, or rather cosmos dyed color that's orange, and there's the marigold. So and I was going to show you also, here are some greens and green blues of the different yarns, and every single yarn here is in a natural dye from our flock. So it's pretty local and pretty sustainable. Here's that Shetland wool right here in the lovable sweater. And you can see how it knits up. It's the worsted weight Shetland. I only have a couple of the dyed skeins left. Most of the Shetland that's worsted is in that grayish color now. So keep on going down. I'm going to just show you something. There's some Spice Girls right there where I just paused, and I have a few different colors in it. Um, we'll open it up. So that's that red cedar sweater by Jess McDonald that's behind me right now. And these are the colors that I have in that. And that's an alpaca merino blend. It's a really nice yarn, a sport weight. People really love it. It has exceptional drape because of the alpaca. It's very, very soft. That's a logwood dyed batch that I did and an indigo dyed batch. So you can click on the yarns in the shop. I think there's one that we're going to go dye right now. It's spring green, and we're going to go make the color. So I didn't really have a picture yet to put on the, sorry, I'm scrolling so fast. I'm trying to get to that spring green listing so I can show it to you. So when we get there, I'll tell you what that means. Doop, doop, doop. Down here past all the naturals, you can kind of see how I have it organized in the online shop. The natural colors are towards the bottom. There's this Teddy Bear's Picnic is that 100% Clun Forest I was telling you about, which is a real solid yarn. Love it so much. Okay, so this yarn right here that we're going to be dyeing is called Taconic Twist. It again has some mohair in it from the Angora goats, and then it has a combination from several of the many breeds I raise. So I raise these long wool breeds, and long wools are as they sound, like they grow a longer wool, usually very, very crimpy. And but different levels of fineness. We also combine our cormo with it, which I told you earlier is like the softest wool that we have. So this little recipe called Taconic Twist is, well, I have some right here. It's also got good halo too. So I can show it to you afterwards in when the screen is changed. But Slight bit of drape because of the mohair, but actually holds up a pattern beautifully. And I have it in that undyed, and it's a sport weight. But we're going to go out and make some green because I have a beautiful lot of it that I've dyed with marigolds and onion skins. And now we're going to dye it in my indigo vat, which is already, I fussed and I fumed about it this morning. I didn't fume, I just fussed. And so all of these items that I'm scrolling past are in our online shop and they're in our in-person shop if you come here. Um, and so I want to get down to that listing to show you if you wanted to get some of that spring green that we're about to make. The listing looks like this over here because I did not yet dye it. We're about to, and then it has to dry. But I believe we're going to get kind of that shade of green. So that's why I wanted to pause on it for you to illustrate it. I just think it's like kind of perfect for March, for St. Patrick's Day weekend, to have some green. So two other things at the bottom here I want to show you. We're going to dye a couple of cotton scarves that are dyed with marigolds indigo too. So you get to see that. And so we'll have a couple of green cotton scarves and they look like this. They're quite large. They're beautiful with pom-poms. And this is the purple one. I love it. I love a cotton shawl or scarf. And it can be any kind of a wrap that you wanted. It could be a blanket around a baby for summer or whatnot. And there are two more that we're going to dye that will be green. And you'll see if you go to the listing, they don't have pictures yet because we haven't dyed them yet. And then the third thing I want to highlight at the bottom here is that this summer I have two weekend classes of natural dyeing here on the farm. So if it's something you think you want to do or bring a friend and sign up, the first weekend is pretty full. In fact, I think it might be full. And the second weekend is open now, which is August 31st and September 1st. And it's all like 4 to 6 hours both days. We have lots of breaks. You get to be with the animals and you get to have lots of farm to table food, and we dye everything. And it's just, we'll make color out of everything. We'll even make paint for you to take home. And you'll go home with lots of usable things. So let me take you outside now. Are there any questions before we go outside? Because I'm not going to have access to my laptop when I go out. Um, I will try to come back in quickly, and in case I am going to turn the volume off here now and go on out there, out back where that other camera is. I'm going to spotlight that now. Oh, told you I was going to show you Thalia or Taconic Twist up close though, didn't I? So let me do that first. Hold on. I put on my apron because I'm going to be in the indigo. And here are two things in the Taconic Twist. This is the yarn that we're going to go dye. This is called the Riggy's cardigan. And I'm going to put it on just to show you. But it's by Gudrun Johnston, and it's done in Taconic Twist that's undyed. Kind of hard for you to see in my short screen. Has these wonderful pockets here. And it's in the Grand Shetland Adventure Knits book. Just want you to see how beautifully it knits up. And then here it is also knit up Taconic Twist in the Alpine Bloom Hat by Caitlin Hunter. Okay, so I'm gonna hit the mute here so I don't get any like feedback. And then I'm gonna go outside and turn the volume on. So give me about 1 minute, all right? Because I have to go put on my outdoor shoes and go out back. Be right with you. Turn. You can hear me now? Sorry about that. You can hear my geese? My gosh. Okay, so here's our indigo vat. So this morning I warmed it up because indigo vat likes to be warm, and obviously I'm in Vermont and it cooled off. So the first thing I do, you can kind of see what I'm doing is it gets when after I warm it up and then I doctor it up, it gets what's called a bloom on top. And I want to remove that before I'm going to dye so that everything that I'm dyeing is not going to get like sediment on it if possible. So I have out here, I have this mesh sieve that I just always use. And I try not to disturb the kettle too much because I don't want to introduce too much oxygen to the vat because oxygen will quickly kill the vat. I don't know if you're familiar like with, I'm going to pour that in there. It's just kind of sloppy. If you're familiar with doing anything with fermentation, you know that it's like kind of it's something that we fuss about with getting the balance just right. Okay. So I've got all this like kind of foam and I'm not letting it drip into I'll just put that slop in there and later on I put the blossom back in the kettle. But the bloom. I don't want to let it drip in there because dripping oxidizes it too, right? So the process of warming it up and then tending it, checking the acidity and all of that, and mixing it up again is that we want to get the pH balance just right. So when I start dripping and splashing and using it, it throws it off because oxygen is introduced. So that's why I'm very fussy about my indigo vat. Okay, so the first thing we'll dye is one of these beautiful marigold dyed shawls. So I'm going to leave the camera there so I don't mess it up, but I'll bring it over. So do you remember how I showed you the logwood purple one that I had dyed? I dyed this one and another one with marigolds and onion skins. So now we're going to go into the indigo, okay? So get ready for, it's like a magic trip. I don't want it to drag on the ground because if it drag, not the ground, but on the bottom of the kettle, otherwise it's going to end up getting all sediment on it and be spotty perhaps. So I sort of let it be in there for about a minute. So usually when it's just me, I count 1001, 1002, et cetera, et cetera. So these gloves that I have, I got them from a marine supply store and they help me because when the water's really hot for when I'm dyeing sometimes, I can protect my hands and stick them right in the kettle. Sometimes they get a leak in them though, which is a bummer because then I get blue hands a lot. So I'm going to keep it submerged. I'm going to try to turn it a little bit, swish it around just a little bit, but keep it underneath, not lift it up, and because I don't want all of the drips to oxidize it. Yet at the same time, I don't want it to drag on the bottom. So every time I dye anything with the indigo vat, sorry, those are my geese. They don't care. They're rude. You guys are rude. So every time that I'm using the indigo vat, I'm doing each skein of yarn, everything that's indigo dyed gets this individual treatment. And I don't have a little song I could sing, but I should think of one that lasts 1 minute because normally I just stand here and count. But anyway, I'm going to guess that I've been talking for about a minute. So the fun thing is watch if you're not familiar, a good indigo vat means that it's yellow or green in there. You see the blue on top. Okay, so we put yellow in. So now look at what we're bringing out. It's yellow. It's starting to turn. Okay, now you see what I did? I squeezed all the excess out. So now I'm going to put this in a vat of water. So it's in that bucket right there, because this to me is kind of the secret of good indigo dyeing is before I pull it out and show you the wonder of what color it turned, I like to let it soak and sort of cure in the water, in a bucket of water on its own for a little bit longer. And so let's take some yarn that I dyed. We have one skein of marigold dyed Taconic Twist. Okay. And so you can even see sometimes there's little bits of marigolds on it still. And it's wet because I took it out of the marigold onion kettle this morning. And now we're going to put this in the indigo vat. And I can tell you that pretty soon it's time for me to start my indigo seeds. And my daughter and I always plant up the garden with, we start our own seeds. Some plants will winter over and you can get 2 years out of them. So this indigo, this yarn wants to float up to the surface, so I'm holding it down under, because wherever it floats up to the surface and gets oxygen on it, that means the indigo is not on it. And so I will have a less even dye job. So that's why I'm trying to keep it submerged, because I want the whole thing to be uniformly dyed. But anyway, so Shar and I, my youngest, do as much as we can to prep seeds at this time of year. I planted about 150 marigold plants yesterday in our seeds. And soon I'll start my indigo seeds. Generally, July and August is a good time to pick the late August. So around the time that I'm having my workshops here, we can use fresh indigo, which is a lot of fun to dye with too. And then the madder root plants, I planted them that last year. They are an every 2 or 3 years harvest. So you plant them 1 year and in a couple of years you dig up the roots, and the roots, like, well, I don't want to get indigo on my sweater, but the roots are what make this color of my sweater that I'm on, which is just so cool, you know? Okay, I'm going to pull this out now, you guys. I'm squeezing out and I don't want drips, so I'm going to squeeze it out. So let me put this in here now. Okay, so now I'll take out our shawl. Okay, now I don't care about drips in that bucket because that's just a bucket of water. It's not my indigo bag. Okay, and so when I first take it out, you can see it's not quite all changed over yet, but it will very soon. And I'm going to take the camera after and show you the side by side. Remember, I wanted to make green because this was bright yellow, right? And oh gosh, it gets darker by the second. So I'm going to hang it here. Okay, and now we'll take out our yarn. So the next thing I do, and with my yarn, I don't want it to crock on your needles. That's when it kind of sheds off, you know, when you end up getting glue on your hands and your needles and such. So I'm going to rinse it in a second kettle. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Now it has to dry too, right? So we'll know what color it is when it's dry, truly. But I'll put them side by side now. So that's so pretty, isn't it? What a color. I am so pleased. So I'm going to hang this up, and then later on I give it 24 hours to cure. I will rinse it again, and then I will dry it. and then I will put tags on it, and then it will be ready to send to you or for somebody to buy. And so let me hang it up here. Hi, Eli. And then I'll grab my camera and show you what they look like, the before and after, okay? Okay. Now, I'm going to try to turn the camera around. I'm not good at this. Here we go. Hold on. You have to just, let me just, sorry, guys. I love it too. Here we go. That's how we turn it around. Okay, so that was the before, that pretty yellow. And then the after is this, it's almost teal. It's quite pretty. I thought that the yellow would take the blue, like make it like a warmer green, but I love it. It's really hard to get a picture too of green, so you can see how it looks out here in the daylight. And then remember our shawl. This is the before and then the after of our shawl. That's really pretty when it dries. I'll give it another rinse. I'll let it hang for a day, and then I'll give that another rinse. I'm really pleased. So now I need to do the rest of those skeins, and then I need to let them all cure, and then I'll put them in the shop. Well, they'll be in the shop if you want to order any. Whoopsie, I don't know what I did. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you quickly because I think it's time for me to get off the Zoom. But I want to show you. This is the garden. It's kind of quiet right now. These are all my kettles. This is my mordant kettle. There's some more pretty yarn that I dyed really soft green. This is also Taconic Twist. I haven't listed this yet. And there's some more of the marigold and onion skin. This is my kettle of madder roots, I believe. Yeah, and so I doctor them off and on, but mostly I use the same colors and the same main colors. So like red and yellow make orange, or blue and purple, or blue and red make purple. I'm not going to go too far. That's where the barn and all the animals are. If I go too far, then the Wi-Fi will cut out. So I'm going to go back inside, and then I can sign off with you all. And I wanted to say thank you. So my dog Eli was out. Here it comes. Coming in, Eli. And then here's Nessie, my border collie. Hey, girl. Here we go back into the shop. Okay. There, now you can hear me, right? So thank you very much. I see it's 11:39. I went over the time. Do you guys have any questions before I send you on your way? Okay, well, I appreciate you spending half an hour and more with me. Eli's barking, so I guess it must be time to sign off. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and welcome spring. Thanks for joining me.
Thank
So
you.
nice to see you.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.